Hello everyone, it's Dr. Paul Rose and welcome to this next video in the MSc Research Skills series where we'll be looking at a new topic which is generative AI, artificial intelligence, and its ethical and honest usage in MSc postgraduate level assessment. How to make sure that any usage of AI is clear, transparent and honest. We'll go through some of the key ways that we can use AI in an ethical manner and why it's important to follow all instructions that you have been provided with. This presentation will cover these key points: a brief background to what is generative AI, what you should do first when you get an assignment brief to make sure that you do things well. We'll cover what we mean by ethical use of AI in academic work, and I'll give you some pointers of when it can be really helpful, when it can be used well to support your learning and support the writing, essays, reports, or whatever it is you're creating, how this can be done well and in an ethical manner, as we just said. Let's start by looking at what we mean by the term generative AI. This is artificial intelligence that will generate content for you when the program or software is posed a question or given a set of instructions, and the clarity or depth or relevance of the content will improve with the depth and scope of the question. The more information provided, the more specific the information provided, the better the answer that will be generated, in theory. These software are developing at a really quick rate, and you might be familiar with some of the commoner AI packages, such as ChatGPT from the OpenAI platform, Gemini, which has been developed by Google, and Copilot, which has been generated by Microsoft. And all of these packages can assist with the development of academic work, but it is essential that any usage in an academic content is clear, honest, and transparent. You must cite what you are doing, you must keep a record of what you have asked, and you must never pass off work generated from any of these platforms as your own. Just in the same way as you wouldn't copy chunks out of a textbook or copy parts of a journal article and say it's your own work, so the passing off of statements from AI without any form of writing on your part is also the same form of plagiarism. It's really important to remember that AI is a tool that you use to support learning. You should never use it to create academic content for your work, which you then pass off as your own. That is unethical, it's plagiarism, and it's inappropriate. Now we know what generative AI is, let's look at how we use it appropriately in our university-style work. So first up, what should you do first when you get an assignment brief? Firstly, and most obviously, read all of the instructions on the assignment brief carefully. What does the brief say about usage that's permitted or not allowed in terms of AI? What can you do and what can't you do? Make sure that is clear to you as the person that will be creating the content from the assignment brief. You are the one writing the essay or the report, you are the one doing the presentation or completing the dissertation. What is it that you are allowed to do with AI's platforms and what can you not do? If you're struggling, if you're in doubt, or if you're unclear, please speak to the academic, module convener or lecturer or whoever has set the brief and ask them for clarity. Get them to explain the AI instructions within the brief so you know exactly what you can and cannot do. And please make sure that you yourself fully understand the assignment brief before you commence any work on it. If you don't understand the topic, you're going to ask inappropriate questions of AI, if you're allowed to do so at all, and the information it generates may be completely unhelpful to how you cover the topic that the brief is on. So read instructions, clarify any questions you have, make sure you understand what you're doing, and check thoroughly exactly what you can and cannot do in the context of AI usage for that assignment brief. My key points for how to be ethical in usage of AI for MSc level work basically boil down to this. Never use it to write work for you. Don't use it to generate content that's passed off as your own. Poor academic practice, not appropriate, considered to be plagiarism. You're not showing anybody your own understanding and coverage of the topic area. Using AI to generate content that you submit is exactly the same way as simply copying somebody else's work. Always keep a record of the prompts that you use, i.e. the questions you ask of AI, and the output that's generated. You never know when you might need them. You never know when somebody might look at your work and request to see how AI has been used. If you can't provide that evidence of clear usage, that might impact on how you do in that assignment. You must always consider AI as a tool that will help you with the research process. It's a tool for assistance rather than someone that will do the work for you. It's not there to produce your work. You produce your work. It is a tool in the same way as reading a book or downloading a journal article or using a database for information or generating stats outputs from a statistical package are tools to allow you to do your work. Think of it in that sense and you'll use it appropriately and ethically. Please cite its usage in the same way as you would cite the usage of any other website or computer program. So if you've used AI to draw a picture, for example, you would say, picture generated with the help of name of platform, date of use. Include it as a citation and include it in the reference list. And remember, if you use AI to review your work for clarity, it will rewrite things in its voice, not in your voice. So you could ask it to check for spelling and grammatical errors, for example, but it's normally better to get those generated as a list of outputs, which you then check in your own work, rather than getting your work rewritten by AI. So for example, if you say, please check this paragraph for spelling errors and list where those errors occur, it will provide the list of errors which you can then change yourself, rather than getting AI to rewrite your paragraph. That then becomes AI's work. It's not your own. You must develop your own writing, your own content from a range of reputable sources, journals, textbooks, valid web pages, the usual academic sources of information that we always explain to students that are the most valuable, relevant, and clear forms of information that you should be citing in your postgraduate level work. AI is no substitute for reading a journal or processing information from a textbook. Therefore, it's important to remember that simple editing of AI-generated output does not equate to your own words. Just paraphrasing or changing words around or rewriting the structure of a sentence is not the same as you writing your own critique, evaluation, analysis or synthesis of a topic, the context of that topic, and that topic's wider meaning or application. For example, if you get AI to draw you an image, which is really good at, so long as you give it really clear and detailed instruction, think about how you can make it more your own style. How can you add your own creative flair to it? Perhaps you've asked for an image of a particular piece of animal behavior. You would then label that image in your own words as to what it shows, perhaps with arrows or call out boxes or prompts that point to the reader what the animal behaviour is actually showing. Don't just submit the image, augment it and add to it in your own words. If you ask AI for a bullet-pointed list, think about how you can then expand and develop that list to show your own voice and explain how you understand what the list is all about. So perhaps you would add references, examples or citations. Perhaps you would expand away on what keywords mean. Perhaps you would talk about the technical content in the list in more detail. Don't simply submit the bullets that AI would generate. Add to these things so that what you are creating has been assisted by AI. You're not just simply copying the content that it generates. Let's wrap this up then by thinking about when AI can be really well used for your MSc level work. First up, AI is used well when your usage of it matches all of the instructions in the assignment brief. What can you do? What can't you do? I feel like I've repeated that a fair point now, so hopefully it's all clear that you must follow instructions before you start. Always read the brief, always check in with your teaching staff if you have any questions and clarify if you're unsure of what AI assistance is allowed, if at all, in that assignment. AI is great for creating pictures, diagrams or images, but be really clear in your instructions as to what you want it to draw. And like all usage of AI, keep those prompts, questions and instructions in case anybody asks to see them. Remember, if you get AI to draw an image, you must add to it so that you are redeveloping the wider picture that that image might be part of, so you show your own creativity and understanding. Next up, it can be good for descriptive illustrations. For example, things like word clouds. Maybe you have the output from a survey, for example, and you would like a lovely visual summary of all of the keywords generated and how many times they've been used by your survey's participants. AI can do that brilliantly, so long as your instructions are clear. So, if you use AI for this type of data analysis, be sure to cite it in the methods where you would tell the reader, this is the program used, this is what I asked it to do, and this is the content that was generated. Don't just pass off the word cloud as your own work. Cite it in the same way as you would cite a stats package that you've used to generate your stats output. If you use R, for example, in your statistical analysis, it's great practice to include the R code that you used for that text. In the same way, explain the AI package and explain the prompt that you used to get that output generated. If you use AI for suggesting a coherent structure or layout of a topic before you start writing, that's fine. But remember, you must personalize that content. You must rewrite it. You must add your own voice. You must add your own content and evaluation. Simply submitting the headings or titles or layout of the essay all in the same words that AI has produced is not your work. It's come from the machinery behind the AI platform. So if in doubt, rewrite, add your own voice. So the most important thing to remember then, when you're producing your coursework and you might want to use AI, keep at the back of your mind, you wouldn't get somebody else to write your coursework for you. You wouldn't ask somebody to write your essay or report or do your dissertation. So consider AI in the same way. Submit your work how you would write it with your evaluation, your analysis, and your synthesis of what these examples or citations mean. And use AI as a tool to develop this analysis, evaluation, and synthesis. Ensure that you follow the instructions that allow you or not allow you to use AI. What can you do? What can't you do? and therefore you won't fall foul of poor academic practice, you won't have plagiarised, and you can be confident that you have been ethical, open and transparent in your usage of AI according to university guidance and regulations, and you followed all of the instructions on the assignment brief to complete it successfully. AI is a tool, it's not a somebody to do the work for you. Thank you very much for listening, and good luck with your studies.